public. I guess I just did not click all the right buttons.
Okay.
Um,
Well,
it
I mean, if it was
is,
that easy, then it's
yeah, it's up now.
cool. Our diehards are gonna be like, yeah.
Welcome back, everybody. We are Rough Draft Research. You are the audience, and together we are on a quest for Dynasty Domination. How's it going over there, Daniel?
Oh, it's going good. I'm enjoying myself. The summer's in full swing. Big 250 coming up for America. So,
Woo!
yeah, enthusiasm, excitement, all brimming for sure. But how are you doing, Christian?
Pretty good. Apologies in advance if you can hear an air conditioner in this recording. I am sorry. It is over 80 degrees in my apartment. Our air doesn't work well, so I got the window u unit going. So hopefully this episode you can bear with me. And sorry to the YouTube audience for the videos being not that great. And apparently
What?
I forgot to hit publish on the wide
Uh,
receiver episode. So that is out now as of time of recording. So hopefully it'll be out for a few days before you get this one, and hopefully this one will be a little more interesting. But other than that, I am good.
Man, the self-critiques are alive and well, man. A little behind the lens right there. I love it.
Try
Man,
to introduce people into my life, my
that's right.
chaotic, crazy life that I do to myself.
I love it, dude.
Um,
They're all the way up to speed. It's full transparency in the RDR world. That's
there you
perfect.
go. Well, here's a little more transparency. We psyched you out at the end of the last
Yes.
episode saying we're doing running backs because we pivoted and we're gonna talk tight ends now. Wanted to give ourselves a little bit of a break. Not that tight ends aren't a lot to talk about, but it feels like they should be quicker, but knowing us, it'll be twice as long. But we also wanted to bring you the uh yearly running back episode that we do. So we thought that
Yeah.
would slide into the running back episodes really well, or slide after the running backs episodes really well. And I'm not quite ready for that. So we pivoted to the tight ends. But if you've been with us, you know what we're doing. We're going through the NFC, AFC positional groupings for every team and ranking them. So we're going to start with the NFC tight end groups. I've talked enough already so far, so you want to hit us with who you got at 16?
Yeah. Yeah, I'll hit you. The bottom of this one was, I don't know, it's kind of sticky, a little
Mm,
tough,
mm,
tough to assign when you got to put them in a certain slot, but I went with the Carolina Panthers.
yeah.
And it's pretty obvious. I'm not sure who the leader in this room is, and I am for this episode going with like my projected number one tight end for the team.
Mm,
Rather than last week with wide receivers, we did a group as not to tier out, 50 guys. But now that we're getting into like mostly, one figurehead per team, with a few 1A, 1B situations, I'm going that route.
mm.
I think maybe, I don't know, you can tell me if I'm doing it differently than you and I can pivot on the fly. I'm capable of that. Um, but yeah, I don't know if Jatavion Sanders is the number one here, or perhaps it's still Tommy Trimble.
Mm.
According to our lads, it could be either. I mean, I don't know. It's Tommy Trimble listed on our lads, but if you're looking at last year's figures, none of these guys had over 40 targets.
Mm-mm.
And it was a lot. Mitchell Evans got 25 targets and two scores, and he was right up there as far as a contributor with Trimble and Sanders. So it's just not what this team is really interested in. As far as the offense, they don't run through the tight end. We've kind of been patient with them to allow them to establish it. But it hasn't gone that route. And there was a Sadiq thoughts that might have changed that, but they didn't go that direction. Obviously wasn't where they were headed. Instead, they drafted Chris Brazzell in the third. So it's like we're just gonna keep passing to the wide receivers, and that's fine. So they find the bottom of this list. There's not really too much to say about the Panthers. It's just the Panthers again, as far as the tight end room goes. So
Uh,
excitement is gone.
Yeah, no, I'm with you 100%. I have the Panthers also at 16. I did it slightly different than you. I didn't try to project out. I did it kind of how I did the quarterback room. If I didn't know who was going to end the season as the starter, they kind of just got dinged towards the bottom. Because
Gotcha.
this to me is about relying on somebody for the whole year.
Sure.
Or obviously the wide receivers was how many of these guys can you rely on? But I don't want to rely on multiple tight ends from
No.
one team. I want one guy. So that they got dinged. So the Panthers took that ding, and then of the teams that had guys I wasn't sure who was going to be the starter, they were the obvious choice for the bottom.
Hmm.
I mean, Sanders and Trimble averaged less than 5 points per game last year, both of them. Um,
Yeah.
and unless like one of them takes a large step forward, I would pick Sanders if I had to pick a guy to step forward. But I don't know that either one of them is going to, because like you said, it just seems like they don't care about the tight end room in that offense, and that kind of makes sense. Because neither do the Buccaneers really, and that's where Dave Canales came from.
Right.
So it seems like that's just not his like favorite position. I mean, they just didn't really even address it in the draft at all, even with a later round pick. So it just falls. And like since Bryce Young has arrived in Carolina, the tight end one for the Panthers has averaged 37 targets.
Yikes.
They seem to go with like a tight end by committee type approach, but still, even then, not anybody really dominates that role. It's just kind of whoever, and even whoever ends up on top does not get a lot of targets. So both these guys, I don't want really either of them unless one of them's on the waiver and he starts to see a larger target share, which I just don't buy at this point with the Panthers.
I feel you. Well, that's good. We're starting at the same spot. Can we continue as such, or are you gonna we're gonna get nasty
Well,
real quick?
so this is the first time I've done this. I just said that like I knocked down all the places that I couldn't decide who was going to be the number one guy.
Right.
But Kate Otten doesn't even make it past those guys to me. So I've got the Buccaneers at 15. It's pretty sad for Kate Otten. I think he's like a fairly decent tight end. He just
Yeah.
doesn't really get the ball ever, you know. He averaged fewer points than per game than AJ Barner and Colby Parkinson. Both of those guys you could call like a tight end committee on the team that they're on. And Kate Otten couldn't even beat those guys out, and honestly was rallied by a few weeks where most of Baker's wide receivers were hurt. So that's like what happens to him every year is he barely ever gets the ball, barely ever gets looks unless the wide receivers go down, which seems to happen a lot in Tampa Bay. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Uh, but even then, he wasn't beating these guys out. So he was the tight end 22 last season. He's never been better than the tight end 14. He's usually hanging around the 20s. I just don't really see him as a viable option. I want all these guys more than him. And like I said, maybe he'll get you one or two good games if the Bucks wide receivers are injured. But when everybody on that team is healthy, he's easily the fourth, fifth, maybe sixth option that Baker's looking at sometimes. And to me, that's just not good enough to even beat the committees that I have in front of him.
Nice. Yeah, I've got Cade, the Bucks here at 14, so I'm right
Okay.
there with you. And it's everything you're saying. Like he's definitely a player on this team that is, part of the game plan. 81 targets last year. That's just shy of a 15% target share on the team, which is pretty impressive for the tight end position. But he's not relied on in the red zone, and
Hmm.
for the tight end, you need that X factor. He only had one touchdown last year, When you got 81 targets and only one touchdown, it kind of is, you might be moving the sticks here and there. You might be the third read and getting the ball thrown your way, but you're not, the focus of this team. And as a tight end for fantasy, you need someone that stands apart, and he doesn't. So I
Yeah,
feel you, man.
I'm with you. All right, so who you got at 15 then?
I don't know. This is where it's going to get weird. I've got Chig Okonkwo.
Okay.
So
All right.
yeah, the Commanders themselves. And it's kind of a bit of the same conversation
Mm,
um, as the Kate Otten. So for them, it's his first year with the team, so there's some potential for him to take over a little bit of that Zach Ertz role, which was pretty good. He had 72 targets last year, and he didn't even play a full season. They've really done well with keeping Ertz's career alive, but I don't know necessarily if that's what they're going to be doing with Chig on the team. I'm sure they were excited to get him, but. He's been, a tight end 21 or worse, pretty much locked into the mid 20s. And he's just not a player that I'm excited about as far as the tight end role goes. I just think that they want to go for, some of this new action with Antonio Williams. They've got
mm.
some new kind of exciting receiving options with Rashad White out of the backfield. So I just don't see Chig slotting in as like a big playmaker for the Commanders. So I couldn't put him any higher than this. It might be rude, it might be uncalled for, but it's kind of how I felt. I just couldn't get excited about him.
Gotcha. Yeah, so I have him up at 11,
Okay.
a little higher, but basically just in front of all the teams that I didn't know who was going to be the guy because he shows up in the Commanders. There's not really any competition there for the tight end spot, so he's going to start there.
Yep.
And you mentioned it, the Zach Ertz thing. Like if Daniels is fully healthy, like I just expect him to target the tight end room a little bit more than like they did last year. But I think to me, he's just like a sleeper that I would be interested in because we've always wanted him to be a thing, right?
Yeah.
And
I've been cheering for him for sure.
I'm down to take a chance on the guys that we've always wanted to pop when they move to a new team. It may never work, but it's something like if I always wanted him to pop in Tennessee and then he gets to move to a better quarterback, a better situation, like I'll at least take the chance on him. So he's at the very bottom in terms of, well, outside of K Dotton, in terms of guys that I know are the number one guy, at least for this season. Because we got to see him do it. And I'm kind of with you. I mean, Daniels, I feel like it's Terry McLaurin, Antonio Williams, the rushing game, Daniels rushing game. Maybe Brandon Ayuk comes over there and isn't crazy. Who knows? So
Uh,
I think he's got like good upside. He's like a cheap option, especially like in redraft leagues and stuff. Like he's a very cheap option you could take super late or pick up off waivers after week one or whatever. Uh, so I like his like potential. I'm just not convinced of how it's going to go, but he just slightly beats out some of these groups of tight ends.
yeah, I got him in the mix with some of these group guys, so I'm curious to see where you go next with that in mind.
Yeah, so 14 here. I've got the Rams sitting at
Okay.
14, and it's not because they're not good players. I actually love Terrence Ferguson and Max Clare, as anybody knows that's listened to this podcast. The annoying part is that they're still behind Colby Parkinson and Tyler Higbee. And Sean McVay is like the king of the tight end by committee. I mean, both Parkinson and Higbee had like decent points per game. Had they been combined, they would have had one of the best points per game for a tight end. But it seems like Stafford and Sean McVay, like they don't really want to target one guy. They used both those guys, Parkinson to a slightly larger extent, whenever they needed, but there was no like true starting tight end. And I feel like that's what they're setting up for with Terrence Ferguson and Max Clare to like take over. And Tyler Higbee's older, so we don't even know when he's going to be in and out of the lineup. So you got Parkinson as like the starter for now, and then Higbee is still there. I feel like if he was going to get cut, they would have cut him already. So I feel like he's going to be there. So for those two guys, if they end up around 7-ish points per game in PPR like they did last year, that's cool for both of them, but it's not great for fantasy. And then you never know when one of these rookies is going to show up because Terrence Ferguson was one of their first was their first pick in 2025, and then Max Clare was an early round pick for them as well. So eventually they're going to start using these guys. So it's just like a big muddled mess. And even when somebody starts to emerge, it just seems like they want to use two tight ends. They're like the picture perfect version of that like 12 personnel set that people want to run right now with the two tight ends. And they use both of them almost equally. So it's like infuriatingly impossible for fantasy to know which one of these guys you should hang your hat on.
Yeah, no, it's crazy how they're deployed, right? Because you got, 8 scores last year for Parkinson, which is pretty awesome.
Hmm.
I would say that's yeah, top three right up there with Ferguson and a couple of these other guys as far as the NFC goes. But then you look at Ferguson, and for all tight ends with over 25 targets last year, he has the highest A dot at 17.9, which is over 7 yards above the next guy that was Darren Waller. So they're deploying him, as almost a third receiver in this LA offense that doesn't
Hmm.
really have that, but they do have typically two tight ends on the field. So you're right. It's impossible to know if they funneled all that action or if they figured out how to, make one person that multifaceted player. It would be outrageous. We'd be talking about a top five guy, but they don't feel the pressure to do that, and it's working out for them
Yeah.
to let it roll the way it has been.
Hmm.
Yeah, so I don't know. I guess I have the Rams at 12.
Okay. Yeah. I
And
mean,
I don't, yeah, it's I think I did a hybrid. I love this room, but you're
yeah.
right. To pick a single guy to trust in fantasy, I think it's gonna have to be Max Clare. He's gonna have to break the mold here with the second round draft
Yeah.
capital. I think there's a chance it could happen. You can't keep stacking, names in this room. It's getting
It
ridiculous.
is getting pretty silly. I mean, for the whole room, they probably have the best tight end room in the league, right? Like,
Yeah, I mean, you
but
got four guys
that
that
could
are
be
all,
starters.
yeah, it's insane. I mean, we've seen this
Yeah.
before with two or three guys, but never like this. This is
Yeah.
outrageous. So
Yeah. Crazy.
injuries or something, one of these guys sticks, we're looking at a superstar, but
Yeah.
it's not likely to go that route.
At
So
least, yeah, at least not this year, with, Adams and Puka and everybody being like, it's just, there's just not enough meat on the bone for these guys. So who's your 14?
so 14 for me was the Bucks.
Okay. So, okay. We already did that. All
On
right.
so
So, yeah, how about you do 13 then?
Okay, I will. Got it. It's Juwan
Okay.
Johnson. It's the Saints.
Gotcha. I got them at 12.
Okay, all right. So we're not, we're not doing too far off. We'll see what you have at 13 eventually, and then we'll work it all out. But this is a bit of the kind of the Kate Otten conversation
Mm,
for me.
mm,
And these guys are kind of getting pushed down because of the wide receiver room. And when I look at the Saints, I know their wide receiver room has been a little up and down these past few years, but with the Jordan Tyson draft capital, um, I think that it's pretty clear that we're going to see a lot more volume go, and it's not just going to be Olave and whoever else, but with the Bryce Lance and the Jordan Tyson additions, it's pretty clear that they're gravitating towards the wide receiver packages. And then you got Oscar Delp in the third round coming
mm.
in. So that feels like competition for Johnson. So that kind of takes him down a few. For me, and that's basically it. I mean, I really do like the player. He's had some good seasons. He was the PPR tight end 8 last year, and he's shown a lot of potential, but it just doesn't feel like the team's supporting him as the future there. So I'm kind of pushing him down. He was let's see, the tight end 12 on points per game last year. So
Mhm.
only 3 touchdowns. It just doesn't feel like the Saints are going to rally around Johnson, in my opinion. And it was kind of a fluky good year last year anyway because available opportunity. It wasn't really his standard outing.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, he had a good year with Shuck last year, like you said, but it was basically because he was the only guy outside of Olave. I weirdly think he could at least get better opportunities given that there's more on the field that people have to worry about. Because basically, I mean, Kamara dropped off the earth and was hurt for a lot of last year. And so when you're defending the Saints, it's okay, we got to cover Olave, and then you immediately go to cover Jawan Johnson. So now there's like a lot more. So he might just have like more better opportunities, but less, you know. But I'm with you with the Delp is going to kind of push him. He's about to turn 30.
Yeah.
I don't feel like he's one of those guys that's going to push much past 30. Like you said, he was 12th in points per game. It's probably going to go down. I just I maybe I probably should have had them 13th here with you. But I just thought I feel like Delp's gonna take a little longer to get on the field than maybe people expect, and Johnson will have like at least early on, because it's one of those things like everybody they brought in for that wide receiver room is all rookies. So it could take them some time and maybe they rely on the old vet for at least a few weeks earlier in the year and you can get some usage out of him, but then it kind of starts to fade off and they start to go towards the receivers more, they start to go to Delp more. Uh, that's kind of my vibe on it. So I couldn't put him any higher. But I just liked him a little bit better than who I have at 13, which is the Seahawks.
Yep.
AJ Barner did all right last year for the Seahawks. He had some pop games, but he finished 21st in points per game. So, like, even though he had a few games where he was all right, it just wasn't a season long thing, and you could not rely on him. And then Elijah Arroyo is a guy I liked, 2025 second round pick. I do think they'll want to use him a little bit more this season. I've seen some stuff about them running more to a tight end sets, and I think he can beat out the other guy while being back up to Barner because Arroyo's just a lot more dynamic. But again, it's one of those situations like who are you going to rely on? And if Barner was really the guy and should start as the guy this year, and he still only ended up in 21st in points per game. That's just not something they tend to use that much that you can rely on. So I see both these guys maybe getting usage, but they're the third or fourth option in a run first offense, and then Barner's got a young player behind him. So it's just like I'm not hyped on much of this going forward at all. And so that's why I just had him slightly below Johnson because I think Johnson's just gonna be more of a guy and get a little bit more opportunity than Barner will. And they both have like a younger guy kind of chasing them down from the back there.
Yeah, I've got them at 11, so
Okay.
not too far. Our bottom six is the same, so
Yeah.
that feels good. Um, but yeah, I think that you nailed it. The thing that makes me a little more optimistic about Arroyo or about yeah Arroyo or maybe even Barner. I think probably Barner this year is a 15% target share. No real competition in the wide receiver room. And then the run first was great with Kenneth Walker. We got to see how it plays out with Price.
Hmm.
Not necessarily a receiving back proven out, so could be some more targets going to the tight end. And there's some promising help in the coaching room,
Hmm.
right? We got Brian Flory coming in as a new OC. He's just had 4 years with San Francisco working as a tight ends coach. So
Hmm.
maybe he can sprinkle
It's
a little
fair.
bit of that Kittle magic in to the Seahawk room. I don't really see the parallels in the players, but if you have a coach that was used to capitalizing on that position, you might see some effort to recreate it going on here. But we'll see. We'll see. I don't know.
I
I
hear
don't know
you.
if that's gonna translate or not. It'd be exciting if it did.
All right. So your 13 was. the Saints, right?
Saints.
Which
Yep.
was my 12. So who you got sitting at 12?
So 12, I have the Rams, who you had at 14.
Okay, and then I had Chig at 11. So I
Yep.
already talked about Chig. So who was your 11?
My 11 was Seahawks.
Okay, I need to start writing this down like you do.
I
It's a
got
lot
it.
more efficient.
We're good. We're at number 10.
Number
And
10.
I guess
Uh,
this
Go for it. Send it.
okay. This one is really tough for me. I had a really hard time at this point specifically. I think I'm
Hmm.
changing it on the fly right now.
Oh shit.
I know I didn't want to do this, but I'm doing it, and it hurts and it's painful and it's happening. I'm going with the Giants.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Same.
Okay. Okay. Whatever, man. I had this plan the whole time. Um, yeah, so it's Isaiah Likely. Like,
Hmm.
yeah, like this is awesome, man. This is finally he's out
Hmm.
from behind, the Mark Andrews shadow and whatever you want to call it, the Lamar Jackson quarterback situation or whoever, whatever is going on. And he's linking up, with the old coaching staff. So that's got to be pretty exciting. Um, he's got a sweet offensive coordinator. I don't know if you guys have heard about this guy. His name is Matthew Nagy. He was responsible personally for all the success that Travis Kelce had.
Mm.
A lot of people are saying that, so it's pretty exciting. But no, he gets John Harbaugh, brings him in, and it should be, wide open opportunity for Likely. But I don't know. We haven't really necessarily seen him capitalize consistently
Hmm.
on the skill level that we all are familiar with. When the targets go his way, he usually does pretty well in startable roles, but really he's got a couple of pop games in his career and then a bunch of filler. So to see what he does to capitalize on this opportunity. I think this could be easily one that I feels incorrect at the end of the season, especially with the slow start with Neighbors coming out. And, we're not necessarily blown away by the wide receiver room. But it just feels like a lot of transition will be happening this year and likely proving it out here is going to maybe take a little bit of time. I'm not buying the Giants offense
Yeah.
day one. There's just a lot of change. There's a lot
Hmm.
of injuries. There's a lot of question marks. So likely suffers from that. And I got him at 10. I don't know what else to say.
No, I'm with you. To me, 9, 10, and 11 for me were a tier of themselves. 12 through 15 was the bottom tier of just stuff I don't want. These guys were like the pure speculation tier. Like
Okay.
this is like okay, like I can see why you could be excited, but it's all based on like ifs and maybes and possiblies, which is where they get dinged. Because you look at Likely and they signed him, and not only did they signed him to a pretty big deal. That makes him the fifth highest paid tight end in terms of average per year, which is pretty crazy investment for a guy that, like you said, hasn't really shown it. And then honestly, like the Giants as a whole, I've been kind of skeptical of. I've been talking about my skepticism up front about my skepticism of the Giants this offseason. I feel like a lot of people see John Harbaugh go there and they're just like immediately like, oh, they're gonna be great. And it's like, okay, we saw like Jackson Dart be exciting and okay at passing the ball, but mostly was rushing and got himself hurt quite a bit.
Right.
And then, oh, Scadaboo's great. Okay, Scadaboo also got himself hurt, and we'll see where he comes in. And then, like, oh, Isaiah Likely comes in, and Jonathan Harbaugh or loves him. Like, did he though? Because he never really gave him the shot over Mark Andrews.
Uh,
Which, and I guess you wouldn't. Mark Andrews is great, but
sure.
it's just weird. And then, yeah, Matt Nagy. Obviously, oh, he had Travis Kelce. Well, did he do that, or is Kelce just that good? It's like all these weird things that I can see
He
why
didn't do
people,
it. I can tell
yeah,
you, he didn't do it.
I can see why people are getting excited. And I think you can take like a fairly cheap swing for the fences with Likely.
Yeah.
I do think people will be overdrafting Likely. And this will be a lot of people's guy. But you're going to be relying a lot of things to work, like you're saying, and work immediately. And so that's I'm just a little skeptical. I have more faith in even the number nine guy that I think is kind of speculation, and then everybody in the tiers above him. So I'm 100% with you. I could see him moving up, and I could see him being fairly effective, but it's just all got to pan out. And one point to him and one feather in his cap, I guess, is there's not a lot of competition there at all, and
No.
and then the contract they gave him proves
Right.
that he's going to be the guy. So like that's why he's well ahead of all these other guys that we've been talking about because he is the guy. We just haven't seen it. And the Giants haven't been passing the sniff test for me this offseason. Maybe I'll be wrong, but that's just kind of where I landed. So yeah, I had likely right here at 10 with you.
Yeah, if I'm in defense looking at the starting roster without Neighbors, it's not hard to neutralize likely if he can't
Yeah,
overcome that kind of attention.
for sure, 100%. Um, well, we'll bounce to number nine then, and I've got TJ Hawkinson at
Okay.
number nine. I think he's a really spicy sleeper this year. I feel like a lot of people think he is past his prime at the end of his career, yada yada yada. And I get it. He is turning 29. I do think like his best years are clearly past him in terms of the NFL. But I think people forgot that like last year was his first year coming off a pretty bad injury that he had to recover from, and then he had some of the worst quarterback play in the entire league last year, if not the worst. So you bring in Murray. Like I don't know how much better he'll be, but presumably he's going to be better than what they had at QB last season because he has been good to great, sometimes bad in the NFL. But you know what he does do? Target tight ends a lot. Uh,
Yeah, big
he
time.
he is part of the reason that Trey McBride is probably at the top of this list for most people. Because I mean,
Well,
obviously Trey McBride is awesome and deserves to be targeted that often, but clearly Murray has an affinity for the tight end position as well. So he comes in to Minnesota. We think he's going to be the starter. I'd be surprised if he wasn't. And then Hawkinson, okay, he's got one more year to recover. He's not over 30 yet, so he could still do it. And then 3 years ago, before he got hurt, and then the coming off an injury year, he was the tight end four. And the year before that, he was the tight end two. So to me, Hawkinson's like a buy low, huge upside tight end with Murray improving the passing game. And I like it. I couldn't put him above anybody in the tier. This is the tier break for the speculation guys at nine, and I couldn't put him into the next tier up because it hasn't been great for 2 years. But obviously, I feel like it's a lot of injury related, and I could see him taking a step forward.
oh yeah, I think this is a huge bounce back year for him. Stability at the quarterback position, you know, same role that he had when he was thriving, still young enough to do it. It's everything you've said, man. There's nothing detracting away from his ability to get up there and be awesome, which is why I had him at number 8,
Okay, one step.
over
Yeah.
here. Yeah, one huge step. My next tier up, but yeah, I'm with you. Couldn't agree more.
Cool. So who's
So I guess I'll hit my number 9
yeah.
then. And this was a kind of a toss up for me with Hawkinson and honestly even with Likely. And I've got Dallas Goddard.
Okay. I have Dallas at 8.
Okay.
So,
So we're real neck and neck on all these. But the Dallas Goddard factor, if you
hmm
will, is it's the Eli Stowers effect with the second
hmm
round draft capital in the tight end position. He's a little bit older. He's 31 now.
hmm
Um, and I think that there's a chance that they've always he's always like been there for the Eagles when they need him, but they've
hmm
always kind of got cute with his usage, and there's like a lot of the Calcaterra
hmm
action. It seemed unnecessary. Like he was capable of producing more, but they just kind of always just kept the light on for a second option in this room. So I just hesitate a little bit. Big fan, I guess, of his game, but I think that when you look at the opportunity for a young tight end to come in and kind of shadow and take over. It seems pretty clear that's what's going to happen. Plus, he's coming off of a great year, PPR number 7, but he had 11 scores, which is a huge year for him. So I'm not necessarily going to get excited to see that happen again.
Hmm.
But yeah, I don't know, man. The Dallas Goddard, he just kind of is like getting a little disrespected by the Eagles organization
Hmm.
all the time, and I could see maybe his role opens up or it's solidified by the absence of AJ Brown and kind of some shifting in the passing game. But more likely for me is Eli Stover's going to come in and kind of establish himself because he's a feisty dude, and I bet he gets a lot of traction in year one.
Yeah, so that's the rub with Dallas Goedert, right? He's the only guy that I put two names for that didn't that made it past spot 12 because I think they're gonna take a little longer with Stowers than you do, I guess, and that's why I kind of had him above Hawkinson in this tier as well with Dallas Goedert. They signed him again to a 1 year deal. He's almost 32. The OC is coming over from Green Bay. We know they like the tight end room. And so I just think like why not? Like tight ends is famously a position that takes some guys, not unless you're Brock Bowers or a few other guys, Harold
Sam
Fannings of the
Laporta.
world, Sam Laporta. It has been happening a lot more recently, so maybe I'm just wrong on this, but I could see them letting Goddard like take the reins and teach Stowers a little bit. I do think there will be using the two tight end sets, especially with no AJ Brown. It makes more sense to me to have Devonta Smith, Makai Lemon, two tight ends, and Saquon on the field.
Yeah, that sounds
So
sexy.
and I do think Stowers is that second guy. So I think they'll both get usage, but I think Goddard is going to lead it for the most part this year. He was the tight end 6 in terms of points per game
Yeah,
in
11
PPR.
scores.
So that helps a lot, obviously, but I don't see that red zone opportunity going away. I mean, I don't think he gets 11, but if he gets 8 or 7, that's still pretty good. So I don't have him above all these other guys. This tier 5 through 8 to me is like guys I don't consider like true superstar potential at all, but I feel like could be decent starters for you. And Dallas Goddard being right on the edge of that makes a lot of sense to me. And then Stowers, I think, takes over next year for sure. And then towards the end of the year, I could see him really heating up, but I think they'll take it slow because they can and they have a guy that they know that they relied on a lot. Like you said, maybe not as much as they should have, but they at least know and trust to kind of take the reins and let Stowers develop as he needs to.
Whew. We'll see how it goes, man. There's going to be a lot of we'll see how the scoring goes for this team. There's a
Yeah,
huge void.
for sure. I think I'm just higher on the Eagles offense than you. I kind of like what they did, even despite losing AJ Brown. So I don't think they're gonna really hurt in the scoring department. I think as much as you do. But I mean, whatever. We flipped these two. It is what it is.
We should fight in the streets on this one.
Well, for my number 7, we're heading from Dallas to Dallas. And we're going to talk about
Um,
Jake Ferguson here at 7. Ferguson finished as the tight end 5 last season, which is great. Obviously, that's awesome. But he was a tight end 10 in points per game, which is still good. But it just shows that like the people in front of him, or there were people on an average per game basis that were doing better, but they just couldn't make it through the full year, and he did. And the Cowboys offense is obviously still going to be really good. It's going to be great even. And I think Ferguson will still be very good. I just kind of like the upside of the 6 guys I have in front of him, more than him. Lamb and Pickens are going to take most of the passing game work. Javante is going to get a little bit of passing game work and take the rushing work. And crucially, I think the red zone work is going to go a lot to these two receivers and Javante. And Ferguson, he's solid, and I think he's really good, and I would not mind him being my starting tight end. But I just don't know that he has like superstar upside, which all 6 of the guys in front of him, at least to some degree, do. So that's why I have him sitting here at 7.
Yeah, I also have him at 7.
Okay, we're pretty close on this. I'm a bit surprised by that.
Well, I know. We got to mix it up, man. It's not too late. We still got 6 more guys, It could get really exciting all of a sudden.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, that's his second triple digit target season out of 4. And so I think that he's obviously the number 3 target on this team. But when your number 1 and number 2 are a couple of top 10 receivers in the league, potentially, I think that, yeah, it just puts a cap on your usage and your effectiveness. So, I'm with you. I agree. I think yeah, it's the wide receiver room holding them back outside of the
yeah.
top 6. All right, here's where we go, branching off here. At number 6, I have George Kittle.
Woof.
Yeah,
Goodness gracious.
I know. Everybody come at me.
You cannot stand Brock Purdy.
I don't like the Niners, dude. It's a true story. Um, But dude, it was a postseason Achilles injury for him.
Hmm.
So he's got that going on. It's not nothing. We've seen some Jake Tongs action that made him feel like he could be relied on, and in the absence of Kittle. So I think they're just going to start to roll through their options here. Kittle could probably come back and be awesome, but he might have a slow start to the season.
Hmm.
And a few things are going on with this team that typically wouldn't be going on. And for that is primarily Mike Evans is in the house. You know what I mean? And then they also have Christian Kirk now. So when you're looking at an offense that was pretty much CMC and George Kittle leading the way with a little bit like Juwan Jennings is what we're talking about. Kendrick Bourne. We're talking about these guys scoring a lot of points for the team, and I think it gets diversified a little bit. I think that everything gets spread out a little bit, and Kittle's great, but he's 32, torn
Hmm.
Achilles. I just see a world where they may start to use him more as a, effective weapon rather than like a workhorse, and that's going to eat into what he's putting down on the field. I mean, that's call me crazy, man. You can call me whatever you want to call me, but I don't know if he has the same opportunity as some of these younger guys that we're about to get into that
Yeah,
are kind of holding down like some big time roles for their teams. So,
yeah.
personal opinion.
No, that's fair. I mean, you're probably wise to be skeptical and have that opinion. I was not that
Where'd you
wise.
put him?
I put him at 2. Like,
Shit, dude.
I mean, they're already talking about him coming back week 1. I don't buy that he'll be
No.
back week 1 because it's in Australia. I think if they were in San Francisco or even just in the continental United States, I think he might, if he's talking about it already. But I don't think they're gonna travel all the way to Australia with him off a Achilles injury and have him do that. But I mean, he was the tight end 13 in total points, and had a 0 in 9 games last last
Yeah.
year, either missing weeks or just not getting the ball or whatever. So to me, I mean, I can't. I tried to get out on him in our Fresh Judge League because he kept getting hurt, and I thought he was over and done with, and that has burned me ever since I did it. Not too bad because I ended up picking up McBride, so it is what it is. But I'm just not willing to put the nail in his coffin yet, personally. He was averaging 14.7 points per game last season, which had him tied for second in terms of tight end rooms. And in seasons that he's played at least 14 games since 2018, he's been third, second, fourth, third, fifth, and third. Um, I get it. You will be right if you're betting on older players getting older 99 times out of 100, and this could bite me in the ass. I don't have George Kittle shellers anywhere, so it's not really gonna bite me in the ass. But I don't know. I can't put him these younger guys I like a lot. But I think Kittle's got one more year, and Brock Purdy loves the man. Like he throws to him, like they got to be best friends. And I can't get away from it. But I like the Niners more than you, and I'm not
Really?
scared of Mike Evans taking his work away. I'm
Whoa.
certainly not scared of Christian Kirk taking any work away from George Kittle. I think Mike Evans is going to be their number one receiver, but I mean they've had number one receivers in the past, and it didn't affect Kittle's value. So, yeah, I think that's just a differing of, yeah, you're right. He is getting old. You may be right. I think he's got at least one more superstar year in him. He's a monster. And yeah, he's got the obvious injury concerns. I mean, he's hurt quite a bit, but when he's there, he's likely gonna score at least 15 points, more likely 20. Like that's just what he does. So yeah, I hear you. I hear everything you're saying, and that is the wise move, especially if you're in a dynasty league and you want to trade off of him right now and like hope somebody it'd be kind of a weird time to trade for him because exactly everything you said with his value and everything. But that's just I don't know. I couldn't not rank him. For the first time I looked at other people's rankings during this exercise, and
Oh, okay.
I saw people putting Kittle farther down.
Did you? I
Um
haven't done that. Did I you gotta have to tell me if I'm siding with the industry, then
you're the
okay.
people
Well,
the
I
from
didn't
what
do
I
it on
saw
purpose. I don't read.
from what I saw, people were more with you. I actually did it mostly just because I wanted to see what people were thinking about likely, if I'm honest. I
Oh,
couldn't
okay.
he was like kind of difficult for me to figure out what I wanted to do with him. And people were still a little higher than where I ended up on him. But
Sure.
I did notice that Kittle was farther down than I was expecting. Some people were really out on Kittle. Doesn't matter. I think
Yeah.
everything you said makes sense. I just couldn't do it myself. For me, number six, I have Mr. Ball Game himself, Sam Laporta, for the Detroit Lions. Laporta was heating back up after kind of a middling year or two there. Uh, Before he got hurt, he had 11.9 points per game before he got hurt this year, which was good enough to make him the tight end seven in terms of that stat. He's on track to be playing by training camp. Combine that with the fact that the Lions have one of the easiest schedules in the league this season. He is also in the final year of his rookie deal, so you know he wants to get that big payday after this year, if it's from the Lions or whoever else. He'll want to show out. I am a bit worried that the Lions may just destroy a bunch of bad teams and then take the foot off the gas, but I'm less worried about that because that's not really Dan Campbell's move.
No.
So, so I could see them just trying to drop the hammer on everybody, especially after a bad year last year. So yeah, I like Sam Laporta quite a bit this year. He's definitely, if I was gonna make another tier, it felt weird to make like a two-person tier. It would be Laporta and the guy I have at five. But yeah, that's where I'm at.
Okay, yeah, I've got Laporta at 5,
Okay.
and I think I have the guy you have at 5 at 4. So
Okay.
just a little bit of the vision here. One thing to note for the Lions is Drew Petzing's a new OC.
Hmm.
He's coming off of the past 3 years with Arizona Cardinals as an OC. So putting the gas on the Trey McBride fire. People are rumored to have him as number one in this
Hmm.
exercise. And I didn't check the other folks, you know what I mean? The other rankings. I'm just going off the top with that Trey McBride take. But yeah, I think that there's nothing going away from Laporta kind of standing up and being a unlimited badass, especially the contract year. I didn't even factor that in, but that usually gets the motivation all the way.
The juice is
Uh,
flowing.
yeah, man. So yeah, if he's out there playing full time, he's going to be the same badass that we know and love, and I think we're all cheering for him. He's going to do better than George Kittle, is what I've recently said.
Fair
So,
enough. All right, so
so
who
he's
go
yeah.
ahead.
You first. Well, you were gonna say something. Who's
Oh,
my
I was just gonna ask
number?
who you had at five, yeah.
Okay, 5 for me is Laporta, and then so 4.
Oh,
Yeah,
gotcha.
I've
Well, I
I've
haven't
leapfrogged.
oh,
Have you
you
done?
leapfrogged me. I have
Yeah.
not done
Okay.
five.
You
So your
do.
6 was Kittle,
That's
5
right.
Laporta. That makes
Hmm.
sense. I have Kyle Pitts at 5.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So Kyle Pitts finished as the tight end 2 last season, and he was 5th in points per game. But most of that production came from weeks 13 to 16 when he was playing like fairly bad teams. He put up 15.2, 15, and then 45.6, and then 18.7. And then the last 2 games of the year, he didn't do super hot. And then from weeks 1 to 12, he was the tight end 20 in points per game. So to me, it's like, I think he's not as good as these 4 guys above him in terms of consistency. And then also he's the one out of these guys that are ahead of him. Huge quarterback questions. We don't Is it Michael Penix? Is it Tua? Are either one of them going to be any fucking good? I get that he gets uh the coach, the Browns coach coming over. What is his name? Why can't I think of his name? Um
His name is Tommy Reese, or that's the OC who was also with Cleveland,
the
and
head
then Kevin
coach, Kevin
Stefanski.
Stefanski. We know he likes to use tight ends. So we'll see. I just think it's still like, was this a late season push against some relatively bad teams, or is it the new standard for him? I have him at 5. I believe that he'll be good, and he's
Uh,
still just 26, or he's not even 26 yet, which is a crazy
yeah, that's
sentence.
insane. That's beautiful. I mean, what are you gonna do?
But I like him. I just don't like him as much as the other guys in front of him.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, it's the NFC South, so he's going to be playing bad teams again.
Sure, yeah.
Just a guess
But
on
the bad
that.
teams he played, the
I,
record of when he did that, they weren't even NFC South teams. I don't
no,
think.
yeah, they're like Arizona.
It was like
You're
Arizona
and
and the Jets and
I mean Tampa Bay. He had is this a right? A
okay.
45 point
Yeah, that
game,
okay, so
the
that was the
three
game.
score
Okay.
game.
Fair
Yeah,
enough.
but yeah, Seahawks Jets. It is what it is. He definitely heated up down the stretch. And I don't know. I've got Pitts at number 3.
Goodness gracious. Okay.
I know it's a lot of it's got to do with the stability of the offense and the lack of, I'm not getting scared of Olamide Zaccheaus or Jahan
That's fair.
Dotson, even Zachariah Branch, who's a player I enjoy.
Hmm.
But no matter what this offense looks like, it's Drake London, it's Bijan Robinson, and it's Kyle Pitts. And they're going to get smothered in targets, all 3 of them, and there's enough to go around.
Yeah.
I don't know if the defense is going to be able to, keep them from getting a little desperate. He led the team in targets last year, and there's a chance that he does it again. I mean, it was his best season for sure,
Hmm.
but I don't think it was a fluke if he can keep the target share in the triple digits, and there's nothing on here that shows otherwise.
Yeah.
You mentioned Stefanski, the Tommy Reese, these guys, the past 2 years have had 150 targets to the tight end position. So I think they're comfortable doing it, and so wheels up for Kyle Pitts. It's kind of tough, man, in these
Yeah.
top how many ever. I think yeah, we'll see how it shakes out. But yeah, a little discrepancy. You got him at 5. I got him at 3.
Yeah. Nothing crazy. I mean, I like him. I have him in multiple leagues. And I
I
think he'll
don't
be
have
good.
any
But
of these
again,
guys. What I'm doing something wrong.
the 3 of the guys in front of him have far better quarterbacks, in my opinion. And then Trey McBride is just an animal, so it's different.
Wow, I'm gonna tell Caleb Williams you said that about him.
Fair enough. All right, so who do you have at 5 then, or did we already talk about that?
Laporta was 5 for me. So
Okay, gotcha. Well, who do
okay.
you have at
Uh,
4 then?
oh, Caleb Williams, tight end.
Okay.
So Colston Loveland.
Hmm.
Um, and so this one is kind of tricky. I have him at 4. I assume you have him a little bit higher.
Hmm.
Yeah, for me, I don't know. I do like Sam Roush. That was a, 3rd round pick coming in. I don't really think he represents anything of a threat to the workload. I think Colston Loveland's going to have a great year. I just don't know for sure what to expect. out of the rebalance in a post DJ Moore target distribution.
Mm.
I'm one to see Rome Odunze and Luther Burden both take a large step forward, but I do think Colson Loveland is locked in for triple digit. Cole Kmet really fell off with 48 targets last year. I think he's capable of more than that, and I think if they're wise, they'll incorporate him to a higher degree than that coming into this year. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what to say. I can't. Top four in the NFC for tight ends. Like that feels pretty good. I've got him over Kittle. There's not, I don't really have anything to say negative. I just like these other three guys, including Kyle Pitts, a little bit more just because I know. I have a feeling that I know what kind of role they're going to have. Where Colson Loveland, I see a leap. I see the offense really going through him, but I want to see it before I put it down on paper here. I don't know.
Yeah, so I have Loveland at three,
Okay,
because I think we did really see it. I think the way people talk about Luther Burden and how they're going to run the offense through him is really what they should be saying about Colson Loveland. Because
right.
from weeks 9 to 18, Colson Loveland was the tight end 5 in points per game with 14.3. He also, this is the main part for me. He went from averaging 2.25 targets before week 9 to averaging 6.3 from weeks 9 to 18. And that's not even including the two playoff games he had where he had 25 targets in two games. Like it clearly turned on for either Caleb Williams or Ben Johnson or whoever, that this is the guy that we should at least be the second most important guy in our offense, if not the most important guy on a regular basis. And Ben Johnson is a guy who came with Sam Laporta and everything. So I think he had a slow start to the season. He quickly showed why we haven't been able to do this professionally yet, because we both did not like him. But
Professionally, dude, this is my job. This is my sole source of income.
oh goodness, are you guys okay? Is the
We're
family
doing
all
we're
right?
doing great, dude. We've never been better.
Fair enough. So the hype train for Loveland is huge, and I genuinely think it should be. I I do think the Bears could take a step back. There's a reason I had my fourth guy not ahead of Loveland, and it's a very small reason. I think they're both like right there next to each other. But I mean, Loveland, maybe it's recency bias, but 25 targets in two playoff games. So in the biggest of all spots, you're relying on this guy a massive amount. I mean, you're talking 12 and a half targets per game. That's pretty crazy. That's some S tier, God tier tight end target numbers. But I have Tucker Kraft at 4. If
Mhm.
Tucker Kraft hadn't torn his ACL last year, I would have him either higher than Loveland, or I would just throw up my hands and say they're both third. I don't know. I think they have both very, very similar upsides. If you look at his season for Tucker Kraft through week 9, so including the week he got hurt and only scored 4 points, he was averaging 14.7 points per game, which tied him with Brock Bowers and George Kittle for tight end 2. And I've been on the record several times saying that the Packers are going to streamline their passing attack. And I think Kraft is going to be a huge part of that. Like, I think on certain weeks he'll be the main part of it, but will be consistently like the second most targeted guy in games. But the main reason I don't have him above Loveland is that injury, that's a hard injury sometimes to overcome. We were just talking about a guy like Hawkinson having a bad injury and not being able to come back the way he looked. Granted, Tucker Kraft much younger. He's on track to play week 1, according to him. Looks at all the videos that you can see online of him is like he's already sprinting at full speed. He's already doing reps and stuff. He's not practicing fully yet, but he seems to have fully committed himself to overcoming this injury. And they need him to in Green Bay. I'd love to have him back. Probably going to buy a Tucker Kraft jersey like right when we get off this podcast. So I love him. I just couldn't quite get there with just how strong Loveland ended the year last year. But I really do think this is like 3A, 3B type conversation for me.
Yeah, I'll give you that. I got him here at number two.
That's what I figured. That's awesome. Love that.
Yeah, sure. On track to be a full go for week one. Um, and like you're saying, the way the usage was, the target share in those weeks, that first half of the last season when he was getting, I mean, just smothered and really given some high profile, big plays, targets. I think that they kind of showed you what they wanted to do with him, and it was working great, until he,
Mhm.
had the ACL. So, yeah, I think if he can get back to form, you're right, it's probably going to be a slow year on the recovery there. But I think if the miracles of science, the aliens have shown us that we only use on our professional athletes and billionaires,
Of
they've got
course.
that
Yeah.
worked out. They got the lasers tuned, so they're just going to craft
Yeah.
a new man out of him and get him out there crushing it. So, yeah, you got him at four, I got him at two. I think we're saying the same thing, just
Yeah. If I
with
didn't
George
still
Kittle in the
believe,
rear view
I
for
was about to
me.
say, if I didn't have George Kittle at two, Loveland and Kraft would be two and three, whereas that's basically what you have him just flip flop. So,
Hmm.
which I think should make it fairly obvious who we have at number one. And of course, it's Trey McBride right up here on the wall. Love Mr. McBride. Tight end two in 2024 on 147 targets. Tight end one in 2025 with 169 targets for a tight end. That's
Ooh,
crazy numbers.
nasty.
Did it with subpar QB play, so he seems to be mostly quarterback proof. Obviously the offense is like a bit concerning, just because like it's like
What are you
they're
talking about?
they're gonna be probably bad, but he's been on bad offenses his whole career and he's been amazing. And he's only 26 years old. So it's hard to put him any lower than this, and in fact, I couldn't do it.
Yeah, I mean, even the Colorado State, it was like, where's the touchdowns? Where's the touchdowns? A
Mhm.
1,000 yards in and out. Where's the scores? His professional career was just like that. And then all of a sudden last year, he's like, oh, I just had to get 169 targets to put down double-digit touchdowns. Like,
Yeah.
I think he doubled his career and collegiate touchdown numbers in a single season last year.
Yeah.
Um, and it's the Cardinals. Like, what else are they going to do? I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, they got Love rolling out, and that's very exciting. But
Hmm.
this guy is the face of this offense and probably the face of this team right now. Is the only thing they really get overly excited about
Yeah.
as they wait to see what the future brings. I think they're going to be 100%, running it back with the Trey McBride action. He's got an outlandish 27.5% target share for this team.
Yeah.
And it's like nothing's going to change that. There wasn't anything really that showed any signs of him slowing down. He had 12 targets or 12 catches over 20 yards. That ties Kyle Pitts. Oh my goodness. As far as the NFC guys go. So really, really major numbers, good efficiency, good scoring, high volume, just really the total package when it comes to getting the job done in the tight end room. So he's clearly number one.
Yeah.
In and out, couple seasons in a row, just still ascending. I don't know if it gets any higher than last year, but if it does, I mean, I'm here front row seat, ready to ride with it.
I'm with you 100%. So there you have it. There are NFC tight ends. Pretty spicy stuff.
Yep.
We will
Yep.
hit you with the AFC tight end groups next week. But until then, we've been Rough Draft Research. You've been the audience, and we'll see you next time.
Take care, everybody. Enjoy yourselves. Be safe with those fireworks, damn it.
Oh yeah, no blown fingers.
No blown fingers.